Welcome to Powerology. If someone makes you doubt your own memory, that is not drama. It is a tactic. And today you will learn how to identify a manipulator in 5 minutes before they confuse your mind, steal your clarity, and turn guilt into a leash. Because in practice, manipulation thrives where there is doubt. And constant doubt is exhausting. It weakens. It isolates. Let's start with the basics. Psychological manipulation is any communication used to control, emotionally hurt, or dominate someone. In a healthy relationship, there is conversation about facts. In a manipulative relationship, there is an attack on your perception. The discussion stops being about what happened. It becomes about you being overreacting, making things up, or going crazy. And that is where the danger begins. A healthy person may disagree. A manipulator tries to take over your reality. First sign, distortion of reality. The most famous name for this is gaslighting. And it didn't become a buzzword by chance. It gained attention because many people recognize the same pattern. The person takes a clear fact and starts to twist everything. You say, "You said that yesterday." She replies, "I never said that." You show the context. She changes the subject. You insist. She attacks your memory. In the end, you leave the conversation feeling unsteady. No trust. Not knowing whether the problem was really you. Compare the two sides. A healthy person says, "Maybe I expressed myself badly. Let's check." The manipulator says, "You're making it up. You're too sensitive. You always misunderstand." It seems small, but it isn't. Repeated many times, this creates dependence. Because little by little, you start needing the official interpreter of reality. And that interpreter becomes the very person who is confusing you. If, after talking to someone, you keep feeling disoriented, stop and investigate. Second sign, manipulative victimhood. This is where a very common script comes in. You point out a fact, the person denies it, then attacks you, and in the end puts themselves in the victim role. This has a name, DARVO. Deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. In practice, you say, "You lied to me." She replies, "That never happened." You insist, "I'm sure of it." She says, "You're stalking me," and ends with, "Look how you're hurting me." Suddenly, the person who committed the aggression seems to be the one asking for clarity. Notice the emotional shift. The focus leaves the wrong behavior and returns to your guilt. This is a powerful trick, because the human brain wants to resolve conflict. And when the manipulator scrambles everything, you start apologizing just to end the tension. At work, this shows up when someone makes a mistake, puts the responsibility on you, and still presents themselves as the victim. In friendship, it turns into emotional blackmail. In a relationship, it turns into a theater of self to avoid any accountability. Don't fall for that reversal. Third sign, isolation. And here you need to pay attention. Isolation is not cute jealousy. It's not care. It's not too much love. It's control. The person starts slowly. You talk too much with your family. Then, your friends don't like me. Then, I'd rather you not tell certain things to anyone. Little by little, the circle shrinks. And before you realize it, you are more dependent, more silent, and easier to dominate. Psychology calls this coercive control, an invisible cage built with small concessions. In the real world, isolation shows up even in workplace relationships. A boss controls access, humiliates in public, blocks interaction with coworkers, and creates fear of disagreeing. This is not strong culture. It's a psychosocial risk, and it's not rare. Research on psychological aggression shows that many people have already experienced attempts to prevent contact with family and friends, as well as constant monitoring of where they were and what they were doing. When there is surveillance, excessive demands, and closing of doors, the goal is not organization. It is domination. Fourth sign, guilt as a tool. This is one of the most efficient methods. The person doesn't need to shout all the time. just press their emotional buttons. After everything I've done for you, if you loved me, you would do this. You're disappointing me. This emotional fog mixes fear, obligation, and guilt. And when you're inside it, you start giving in not because you agree, but because you want to avoid trouble. It has a name, emotional blackmail. And it works precisely because it feels morally hard to say no. And there's a very important detail. When you set a boundary, the manipulative reaction is usually immediate. Punishing silence, calculated coldness, drama, accusation. In practice, disagreeing becomes a crime. The conversation turns into punishment. The person disappears, ignores you, and expects you to chase after them to reestablish control. That's a warning sign. Because a healthy relationship does not train submission. A healthy relationship negotiates. A healthy relationship listens. A healthy relationship does not use your fear as a tool for obedience. Now, how do you defend yourself mentally? First, track patterns. Don't rely only on how you feel in the moment. Write down dates, phrases, and situations. Second, check reality with someone you trust. A neutral person helps separate fact from confusion. Third, use short boundaries. No endless speeches. No asking permission to protect yourself. Say what you accept and what you don't accept. A boundary is a short phrase plus consistent action. If the person respects it, great. If they react with guilt, anger, or mockery, you've just seen the pattern. Fourth, observe repetition. One bad episode can happen. A constant pattern is another story. If the confusion is frequent, if the blame always comes back to you, if isolation increases and disagreeing becomes a risk, you are not dealing with a common misunderstanding. You are dealing with a strategy. And in the workplace, in friendship, or in romance, that matters. In Brazil, there is already legal recognition for psychological violence. Mental control is not being dramatic. It's serious. And it deserves a name, a boundary, and protection. So keep the essentials in mind. Reality distortion makes you doubt yourself. Victimhood manipulates guilt. Isolation cuts off your reference points. And emotional blackmail pushes you to give in. These are the four most dangerous signs because they don't arrive with a bang. They arrive as confusion. And clarity is defense. Trust what repeats itself. Trust what holds up. Trust your perception when the facts keep staying consistent. A boundary is not aggression. It is protection. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Powerology channel to master your own power. See you next time.